It is my distinct pleasure and privilege to welcome Emmy Award-winning journalist Ms. Roz Plater to provide tonight's remarks to our graduates and special guests. Ms. Plater is a Calvert County native who most recently worked as a freelance reporter for WJLA ABC 7 in Washington, D.C. Ms. Plater earned a Bachelor of General Studies degree from American University, followed by a master's degree in broadcast journalism from the University of Missouri. Her subsequent 22-year career has included work as a reporter and anchor with KNTV in San Jose, California, and at CBS 5 in San Francisco. She was a Washington, D.C. correspondent for Hearst Broadcasting and then served an 8-year stint with Fox 5, Washington, D.C. as a reporter and as web host of Today's Voices before working with WJLA. In addition to an Emmy in 2015 for Winter Storm Special Report, Ms. Plater won a Chesapeake AP Broadcast Awards in 2013 for Outstanding Spot News, a Health Science Reporting Fellowship, and Emmy nominations in 2016. I now present to you Ms. Roz Plater.
Thank you so much for that very kind introduction. And she listed just about everything, so that's very nice of you. I want to thank and acknowledge a lot of the folks responsible for all of us being here today, for the trustees, to the president, Dr. Gottfried, to the faculty, to the staff, to the parents and the families and the spouses and the partners and the significant others of the graduates, and most of all, to the graduates who are really the stars of the evening here. Thank you so much. I am honored and humbled and grateful that you asked me to be your speaker here. I am, as Dorothea said, a proud native Southern Marylander, born and raised in Calvert County, and my family goes back for generations on both sides of my family. So you'll probably run into somebody by the name of Plater. In fact, two of my relatives, my sister, Dr. Marcia Plater, is here somewhere. She may be in the overflow room. She probably couldn't get in. And my brother, Roland, both of whom live in Calvert County, are here tonight, so I want to thank them for being supportive. I wasn't sure what to talk about because I've been where you are and always think that most people standing up here talking to us are pretty boring. So I wanted to be able to say something that wouldn't put you to sleep, and I promised that I would only do it in just a few minutes. So one of my good friends said, why don't you talk about some of your experiences that you have had on your journey to what our friend Oprah calls your best life. I have now been a television journalist for more than 22 years. I've been blessed to work in 2 of the top 10 markets in the country, in 2 of the most sought-after cities or locations in the country, both in the San Francisco Bay Area and the Washington, D.C. region, as she said, first at Fox 5 here and then at WJLA. I am, by the way, back now in San Francisco, so I just flew in a couple days ago. And I've had the privilege of working as a colleague with some of the people that I actually watched growing up on TV here when I was growing up in Southern Maryland. But my career almost didn't happen. My career in journalism almost didn't happen, and I had to jump-start it again and again and again. As a journalist, what I do best is tell stories, and what they tell you in journalism school is that the best stories have a beginning, a middle, and an end. So let's pick this one up. When I graduated from college, at least the first time, I had majored in nursing, and there's probably a couple of nurses back there, right? And there you go. I had become an emergency room nurse, and it was fine. I made a pretty good salary starting out. I was helping people, and I had a good, safe career with job security. But deep down inside, I knew that that was not my passion. I wanted to be in communications, a field that was hard to get in and has absolutely no job security. So it took me a few years in to actually get it all together, and I started to do some research. I went back to school. I took an internship, and I got accepted into grad school in Columbia, Missouri, one of the best journalism schools in the country, or so I thought until I got there. There was a little snag. I'd been accepted to the grad school, but not into their prestigious journalism school because I would have to, this was January, and I would have to wait, take some prerequisites, and reapply to get in the fall. Well, that didn't really work for me because I'd moved out there and I knew I only had about 6 months of savings, so I had to make something happen. So I made an appointment to see the dean of the school. I waltzed in, introduced myself, and I said, listen, you're going to want to have me in this journalism program. I'm going to be an asset, and one of these days, you're going to be proud to call me a graduate. He looked at me and said, well, maybe, but I'm not so sure that's going to happen. I'm not all that impressed. You had good test scores, but you majored in nursing, for God's sake, and you don't have any of the prerequisites that people coming to this program usually have. So, you know, we'll see how it goes. He's talking, and all the while in my head, here's the conversation that's going on. Bless his little heart. Because he has no idea who he is talking to. One of the reasons he said that I'd have to wait is because people from my background usually have to take a semester of remedial English before they actually get into the college. And I thought to myself, are you kidding me? I'm the kid who was such a nerd that I would sit in the corner and diagram sentences to amuse myself. And I grew up in a home, a little house on Dares Beach Road in Prince Frederick, where here's what they taught me. Nobody, absolutely nobody has the right to stand in the way of your dreams. And that's something they would tell us day after day after day. And they would say to us, your job is to get your education, to work hard, and then fight for what you want, and do it in the nicest way possible, because my parents believed that you should be nice people along the way. So I smiled my best smile at the dean, and I asked him if there was a way to opt out of that English requirement. He said, yes, but I don't want you to waste your money because you're probably not going to succeed at it. So I pulled out my checkbook, and I said, let me write you a check because I'd like to take that test today. I did, I aced it, and I got into the journalism program. And I never looked back. And in fact, the following semester, he was the one who hired me to be a graduate teaching assistant. Towards the end of my master's program, I applied for something new. It was a training program to be a network news correspondent. I got in. It was huge. I was so thrilled. They started flying me around the country to various stations to see where I would be a good fit. I was so excited because getting that first job is hard. And I thought, I actually will have a first job. Then just a couple of weeks before my graduation, that program shut down because of funding. So here I was, back at square one, looking for my first job in journalism all over again. I came back home. I had finished grad school, and it was around Christmas time, and that's when the story took a pretty tragic turn. I had actually a TV station interested in hiring me in Buffalo. You know Buffalo. That's where they measure the snow in feet and not in inches. But it was a good job. As a weekend anchor and a medical reporter, it would be a great fit with my background. But I'm home for Christmas, and suddenly my mom got sick. We had to rush her to the hospital, and the doctors discovered that she had an illness and told us she probably has about 6 months to live. So Buffalo was off the table. I jumped in, and my brothers and sisters and I took care of my mom. And about a year later, we lost her. And to be honest with you, I wasn't really sure that I had any energy left at that point to pursue my dream, to pursue my career. Because remember, I had finished my graduate degree. I hadn't had the first job yet in journalism. I was exhausted. I was grief-stricken. I was heartbroken. I'd lost my rock, my best friend, my cheerleader. And I wasn't sure what to do. Somewhere inside my head, I heard her voice saying, you got to go on. You can't let anything or anybody stand in the way of getting your dream. So I started the process again. I sent out dozens of tapes and resumes over months. And finally, I got a nibble, just a nibble, from a news director who said, I have a temporary job. I have a reporter who's going out on maternity leave, probably 3 months or so. And I thought, well, okay, I'm just going to go do that. The job was in Monterey, California. So I packed up my things in my old beat-up Volkswagen Jetta, and I drove across the country to California. I didn't know anybody there. I had 3 months of work, not a lot of savings, and I knew there was a huge possibility that I might fail and that I might fall flat on my face, and I had nobody around that I could turn to for help. Turns out I didn't fail. I, in fact, made the best move of my career. I worked really hard, and in 6 months, I moved to a job in San Jose, and a year later, I got hired in San Francisco, the 5th largest TV market in the country, with less than 2 years of experience. And even nowadays, that's the kind of thing that doesn't happen very often. And after a decade in San Francisco, I was able to come back home to work, and that has been one of the joys of my life. I've met so many people, some of whom are related to me or may be related to me or think they're related to me. I'm not really sure. But I'm always thrilled when I meet people who say, you know, we enjoy watching you on television and we understand what you're saying and we enjoy you getting the news. I share my story because I think it illustrates the things I believe about life. Sometimes you just have to take a leap of faith. You have to fight really hard, and you never, ever give up. Sometimes you fall down, sometimes you get knocked down. It doesn't matter how you got down there. The point is, it matters that you fight to get back up and go for your dream. Today we're celebrating your accomplishments, and you've made just a great, great accomplishments. I am proud of you, and I am proud to be here with you to celebrate this day. I'm a huge believer, huge, let me say that, huge, like Donald Trump would say, huge believer in education, because I think it is your passport to a journey, your journey, that will help you get towards success. I hope along the way you have either found or will find your passion, because it is true what they say, that if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. And I should add, they actually pay you for it. That's always nice. In my job as a journalist, I have had a front row seat to covering history. I've covered and met presidents and ordinary people with fascinating stories. I have been able to sometimes help make change, to right some wrongs, to actually give a voice to the powerless. And it is these kinds of memories that I carry with me in my memory bank, and I wouldn't trade them for anything else at any other time in the world. My story, though, is incomplete. It doesn't have an ending yet. I'm still working on it. And in fact, I'm starting a new chapter just as you are starting a new chapter. So, what I want for your story is that I want you to have health, and I want you to have happiness, and I want you to find your passion. And I want you to promise me that you will sometimes take a leap of faith, that you will work and fight hard for your dreams, and that you will go out there and get your life. Thank you.